Hi, Statesmen Nation. Welcome to Inside the Playbook. We are in obviously different digs this week and for the next few weeks. Back here in the Athletic Communications office here on on the campus of William Penn University. So Justin Burtis is joined by me. We have a little bit different look here as well because our third compadre, Jared Goodman, is a bit under the weather, so our round table has now turned into just a face-to-face. So we still have a lot of great things coming down the pipe here. We're going to recap all of last week's games first, and then sit down with some special guests, and then preview next week's game. So a lot of stuff going on here, Justin. Let's get right to it.
Let's.
All right, man. Football, unfortunately, the Rockin' Ladder Trophy stays in Des Moines. 45-10 loss for the Statesmen against Grandview last Saturday. One of these situations that the team played not so well and the other team played pretty well. I mean, they're number 4 in the nation for a reason. We knew we'd have to be almost perfect, and we were far from it, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it is a bummer because it looked in the first quarter slightly promising.
Right.
Certainly they fell down early, but then they responded with some points, and so you start heading to the second quarter. What was it 14-10 at
I think
one point?
it was 14-3 or
Yeah.
7-3 early, and then we had
Yeah.
chances to keep it close and kind of lost a few possessions.
And yeah, turnovers is really what did it. A couple
Yeah.
fumbles, really not helpful.
Right.
And of course, we were watching while the soccer games were going on, and we were up and down with the team as well.
Yeah.
So there were some good plays, and certainly the kicking game was a little better this one, despite Graceland being a blowaway. The extra points and
Yeah.
a couple kickings
Yep.
weren't so good, but at least that sorted itself out. But yeah, it was a bit of a backslide, if you will,
Yeah.
for the team. But it was, as you said, top 5 competition. That plays a lot into it.
No, exactly. I mean, it's a high emotion game, and you fully expect that Grandview is also going to show up for it. They're playing at home, and they don't want to give it back. They don't want us running across their field to go get that trophy.
Yeah.
And so it was any rivalry game, you expect that, and everybody's going to play at their highest level, and we just unfortunately came up with too many mistakes. So, again, like I said, the loss there, and move forward and hope to finish off the year with 3 straight wins and end up with a winning record. So there's a lot to play for still, mostly on the pride side, but there are things we have to play for. So, all right, excuse me, women's volleyball sport that I don't normally have to talk about, so I have to catch myself up here a little bit. Grandview, also a top 25 team on the volleyball side, and William Penn, unfortunately again, on Friday came up short against the Vikings, 3-set loss, and that one, it was pretty much
It is
all
what
Vikings
it is.
all the
Yeah.
time, so it just was what it was.
Yeah, bad back-to-back setter up there in Des Moines between that game and the football game.
Danielle Penzinski gets 9 kills. I believe the team, she gets 294, but otherwise, it wasn't William Penn's night.
Moving on.
Switching pages, though. The team closing out, that unfortunately lost, not to go into a lot of it, but that unfortunately knocked us out of postseason contention. So the Tuesday night matchup against Mount Mercy truly was the end of the year, not just the end of the regular season, and the team played hard, to say the least. I know you only got in there part way into the first set. We had a tough first set, tough second set, fell behind early 2-0, and you think, all right, well, this is going to be a rough way to end the year, but just like that, they battled back, got the third set, started building momentum, took the fourth set. That was a really tight one. I think it ended up going 27-25, I think, in the fourth, and then really tight throughout the fifth, and ended up pulling away, getting the last several points, and coming back and winning 3-2 over Mount Mercy. Again, a win that didn't mean anything, but for senior night, for the seniors that were closing out, Nishali Cruz, Casey Gakusana, Kiki Davis, Nazreen Iskandrani, Alexis Jensen didn't play, Shauna Nodal also didn't get in the game, and then also Danielle Penzinski. Those seniors got to leave Penn their final time playing and as winners, so that's really exciting for them, and they were stoked to ring that victory bell after the match.
Yeah, it might not have meant much in terms of standings and record and whatever playoffs, as you said. We didn't really know. There was a chance, but things happened. But it meant a lot to those seniors, and I came in at the end of that second set when we had a chance to close it out. And Mount Mercy came back and won, 7 straight points or something
yeah,
like
we
that.
had a chance,
And they ended up winning
Yep.
26-24 or 27-25, whatever it was.
Right.
In your mind, my mind at least was like, oh no,
Yeah.
not good. Not. Hopefully this isn't a here we go again type of thing
Right.
where similar to that Clark game, we came out, played strong, and then just kind of lost it.
Just hit a wall at some point,
Yeah,
and we didn't hit a wall.
No,
we
and
got that wall, and then we decided we're going to go right
yeah,
over
they
it.
jumped over it and actually got more momentum. That third set was pretty strong. That fourth was really good, and the fifth set, a lot of good feigns.
Yeah.
And as you said, despite it being even till about 7-7 or 7-6 when they switched sides, then the Statesmen took over
Yeah.
and obliterated Mount Mercy to get the 15 points first.
Yeah.
And huge energy, even from people that you don't normally see. Of course, you see Alicia and she's going to be excited about every single thing that she does, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
But you even saw people like Libby Zorn and Corinne Lepper getting pretty pumped, and you saw a lot more emotion out of Nez because it's her final game, and Nishali was getting pretty excited. They had one kill where she was just like, yeah, I just killed that. Let's go.
Yeah.
And to see those seniors ring the bell and the excitement from everyone on that team was fantastic. And just a side note, even for someone like Shauna Noel, yeah, she didn't get to play, but they get the chance to play the varsity reserve tournament this weekend at home, so she still gets to play out.
That's true. Yeah, her and Alexis.
Have a good
her and Alexis
final
will still
run
get
to
to
get that. So, what were some of the other? Do you have any other stats from that?
Yeah, I mean, overall hit 191 versus 155 for the Mustangs. Libby Zorn had 16 kills. Corinne Lepper added 14, and Alyssa Young also got the double figures with the 11. And I think, that's all of them as far as double figures. Sydney Roush came in, and at the end of the year, never really figured out that the setter position, obviously, with Sydney Roush and Annalise Whitcomb combined for 60 total assists, and just an overall really good game. Everybody kind of stepped up. Cam Campbell gets 32 digs to lead the defense, and just really nice for them to finish off in a really good atmosphere. Obviously, it was also Halloween dress up night and all of that, so a bunch of people did that fun stuff. I mean, you and Goody got into it, and the crowd was great.
Yes.
We really you could tell we were feeding off of the crowd in that northeast corner. The students were really pumping them up, so that was awesome that they were able to pick up the victory and close it out. So
it was a good blocking effort as well. I think they doubled down over Mount Mercy in terms of blocks, and the student energy. Everyone was there the whole time, even though we fell down 2-0. They stayed strong, and the energy was there the whole night.
Yeah, definitely. So just awesome. End of the year 12 and 19 on the year, 7 and 11 in the conference. A little bit lower than expectations, but it's a tough conference, and you got to show up every time out for sure. So, all right. Switching over to men's soccer, they had a pair of matchups this past week. Evangel on Saturday wasn't a great game for the Statesmen on Senior Day, but came away with a 2-0 win. 26. Sorry, yes, exactly. That would have been very impressive. 26-12 in shots. So really wasn't a very even game, very much controlled by the Statesmen, but just having a hard time finding the goal on Saturday. Got an early one from Kennedy Daviska on what was a questionable assist from Bonato.
The assist conundrum of the
year.
Here.
Exactly, but that's a very long story there. Anywho, got the goal there, and then we just dried up. The well just dried up, and we finally got another one late when Eduardo stole the ball right off the foot of an Evangel player, got it over to Kenzie. Kenzie got it right back, and Eduardo pops it into the far post netting, and 2-0 win. Again, not a great win, but you got to beat those teams. Evangel did not play like a team that only came in with 2 victories, for sure.
Evangel came in with a game plan, and it was, I don't know if this is how they've been all year. I've not watched Crusader soccer because obviously we're not going to watch every team's every game as much as I would like to. They came in with a counter-attacking game plan, which was we're going to put almost 8 people behind the ball. Even though they're 4-3-3, they almost had 8 people at times behind the ball. Very much sit back, absorb the pressure, and then outlet it deep. And in that first half, they had a couple of great runs that were really scary in terms of, from a Statesman perspective of, we almost conceded a couple goals there. Austin Munoz made a couple great saves early on, and even though they were up 1-0 at the end of that first half, you're going, is this please don't be that moment where they trip up to the worst team in the conference and all of a sudden all these aspirations come crashing down or anything like that.
Yeah.
The second half, though, Statesmen came out, and I'm writing a story, interviewed the Hassans, Amgad and Akram, and I think it was Amgad who said that Benato pleaded with them on his own behalf to go out and play for the families that came to support the seniors in that second half, and they did. And credit to the Crusader goalie in that one. They actually switched goalies, and the guy who came in, who has an afro and a half, was flying all over the place, and really, he made it 2-0. Yeah, we got the second goal from Benato, but if that guy had slipped up a couple times, it would have easily been 4 or 5-0. So credit to him, but the second half was much better Statesman soccer, and that secured the win.
Yeah, and also probably secured for sure a Nationals berth. I don't think that has been in question for quite a while with the expanded field this year for Nationals, but needed probably maybe one more win to very much lock it up, and that probably did it. Team went to 14-3 at that point, stayed in second place, and locked up second place in the conference tournament.
Second in the heart,
Yeah, and then for a game again that maybe a lot of people didn't think it meant a lot. It was it wasn't just shy of a top 25 battle. Missouri Valley being number 28 coming in, and yesterday the horrible weather conditions. Obviously, both teams had to deal with it, and William Penn just couldn't. And not for that being the reason why they couldn't come away with the victory, but just never really could get things going, falling 3-1 to the Vikings. And early goal, big goal by Joe Minton, 40 yards out, bombs it.
Absolutely,
still didn't realize that he even scored. He came in early. He's like, wow, I really didn't realize that went in until it went in.
Please be a goal of the week on that.
Yeah, for sure. I'll have to track that one down. But then, unfortunately, Vikings come right back, score, then they get a PK right before half that really was a demoralizing goal, making it 2-1. And both teams had PKs in the second half. Both were blocked, saved, but Missouri Valley had another goal before that, and 3-1. And I wouldn't say that the team played bad. It wasn't in that situation at all. Missouri Valley, knowing how important it was for them to win as well, and then playing at home and being able to take advantage of some of that. In the end, not a bad loss, but probably one that you can't afford to have. And if you were looking at maybe hosting one of the opening round tournaments, that may have did that in. Maybe. We don't know for sure, but maybe.
We'll wait for the math to be done, and the people in the NAI office, RPI, all that stuff is beyond us here.
Yeah.
But it was certainly a game where the Statesmen were going kind of with the win the first half, and they made some good strides, but they couldn't quite finish. And then defensively, there was just some times where the balls over the top weren't handled well. The first goal was pretty much a breakdown, and the guy made a great shot, give him credit for that, but one you probably normally don't see them give up.
Right.
The penalty in the first half was questionable. Yes, what happened was Munoz tried to dive and get the ball, he missed it, and he tripped up the guy, and that's one where you're like, well, but maybe he did touch it, the referee's in his pile, who knows, whatever, and that was fine. It was 2-1, but then the second half, maybe it's because they're going against the wind, maybe it's because Missouri Valley had a better game plan going into it of how to attack. They just couldn't generate offense until later in the second half, and then it was just a little too late to overcome. But maybe that's something that the team needs, because they'd gone on a good long winning streak. They'd only lost to Central Methodist really in conference, well, definitely in conference until this game. And despite the fact, you probably need to win that for national site, maybe we'll see, and you want to win them all that. Maybe this was a slight positive. This is the last game you can really lose. Because after that, I mean, you are going to nationals, so you don't have to win the Hart tournament to qualify or something like that. But you want, almost from here on out, it is win or go home. And if these guys want to progress, maybe that setback is something that reminds them, we have to win. We have to play our best. Let's hit it hard on the training ground and come out stronger and see if they can get to the final in the Hart tournament. Maybe take it to Central Methodist in a rematch of that one.
Definitely. So, team before that game earlier in the day found out they moved up to number 9 again, and number 18 RPI going into this past week. So, it's locked up. There's no way you're falling out of the top 48 per se to not be a national. So now it's just, can you better your situation, be again, possibly a host, whatever the situation. But yeah, now it's basically do or don't. You got to do. So yeah.
Now it's time to go past
execute on. Yeah, for sure. All right, on the women's side, unfortunately coming up short on against both Evangel and Missouri Valley to close out the year. So
yeah, senior day Saturday for both men's and women's teams. Great to see a lot of the parents came out. Fun getting to talk to a couple of them and seeing the players being excited to have their family members there and supporting them. The ladies team 7-1 eventual loss to Evangel. The first half they go down to nothing. But at the end of the first half, they actually started playing better. They looked like they were starting to generate a little offensive chances. They were holding defensively on their own. And you started thinking, well, maybe we get into halftime, see if they take that momentum in the second half. They come out. They eventually get a penalty awarded to them. Caitlin Flaney gets taken down. Iris Navarro steps up. And what a year she had.
Yeah.
Really emerged as an attacking threat as well as a pretty good midfielder who can win the ball defensively. Was perfect on the year from the penalty spot. I believe that was her third. Might have been 4 for 4, 3 for 3. Either way, she kills it. It's 2-1. You're thinking, all right, maybe we can get something going. And then Evangel just kind of took away and ran away with it. Riley Ludwig made 4 saves on the day. Zoe Ganley and Mandy Graham each had 2 shots. 9 shots total for the Statesmen. As the second half wore on, they couldn't generate much offense.
Yep.
Again, they played first in that bad weather. They moved the Missouri Valley games earlier in the day because there might be snow later on. And
there was.
The Statesmen did not have their best game of the year. They ended up losing 4-0. They let a goal in within the first couple minutes. They actually don't get a shot on the board until there's about 15 minutes to go in the entire game. They could get nothing really going overall. It was Vanessa Hamilton and Iris Navarro who got the only 2 shots of the game for the Statesmen. Riley Ludwig made 5 saves in her final act as a Statesman, and some of the other seniors got to play. And I know probably despite the scoreline, some of them were still emotionally spent after that one, knowing it was the final time they put on the uniform, were traveling on the bus and all that stuff. So this team had a lot of up and downs in the season, a great start with a couple of thrilling wins and then some bad moments and ups and downs and all around. But again, a young team. Jamie sent us his quote, which said most of the time they're starting 7 freshmen, if not more.
Incredible.
And there's a lot of sophomores that were getting starts. Only a couple seniors would play majority of the game, and that was Ludwig, who was in goal until she got injured, and maybe a couple others. So a lot of youth, a lot of experience gained. We'll see how they can recruit and transfer in for the next season, and see what steps they can take forward going into next year. As they are done for the year, they finished 6 and something and 1 and 11 in conference play.
Yeah, it's your sport. Sorry, I totally.
I think it's 12.
6 and 12. I think.
Yeah.
I think just looking forward now, this team, if they can keep the nucleus together, and learn from whatever mistakes and whatever positives, just learn from this year in general. The future's bright. I mean, there was a lot of really good things you could see out of freshmen that, normally you come into college thinking, I'll play a little bit. They were starting. They were getting 80, 90 minutes every time out, getting a lot of great experience. So they're going to be ready for what comes at them next year. A lot better, get bigger, stronger, faster, all of that stuff, and just be stronger, mentally too, and have, more of a college soccer IQ about them. So they're going to be ready, and look forward to
bounce back year. Hopefully.
Yeah, definitely a bounce back year. I think they have a lot of positives. Obviously, they need to maybe shore up the goalkeeping side a little bit. They've been really banged up this year.
I mean, when you're diving into bringing a forward into net, you definitely need some depth there.
Yeah, so we're probably going to work on that place, but otherwise. Disappointing year, but knowing that it was such a rebuilding year, I think they can take a lot of positives and move forward. So, switching over now to cross country, their final, regular season meet of the year, the NAI Seminole Valley Stampede, very long name, hosted by Mount Mercy up in Cedar Rapids last Saturday. Very banged up team. This team, just another really young team that, for various reasons, got injured throughout the year, and it's a quick season, but you can get quickly injured too, and you need to be in prime shape to survive it. But both teams surprisingly did throw out full teams and got team results out of it. The women 15th out of 20, the men 18th out of 20. Michaela Kamek leads the women 77th place, time of 21 minutes 23 seconds, and Kenneth Bolton leads the men. He finished 105th at a time of 28:58. So again, a young team. They're just going to throw out their best. They're going to put out their best next Saturday at the the Hart Championships. And hopefully get somebody to qualify for the NAI Championships. But they're going to hopefully again have learned a lot from this regular season and be prepared next year. But they're just dealing with a lot of injuries and trying to find a way.
Anyone is what you're going to say. I thought you were going to say, because this team has so many people that have been injured and good to go and injured and all sorts of stuff. So throw out anyone they can. And it's sad, especially to see a guy like Vernon, who unfortunately got injured. He was doing so well, and I'm sure he had aspirations to go to that NAI tournament. And now, who knows if he has enough points or however they do that to qualify.
Unfortunately, the season's been cut short. It's just done. But everybody else is just going to battle. And I know they're not going to quit. They're going to put out their best, put their best foot forward for the final meet, and hopefully get a good, respectable finish and something that they can build on towards next year. So, all right, that's all the fall sports. Yes, we are.
Well,
we're almost wrapping it up.
Are we going to go over the... Okay.
Yeah, I was just wrapping up fall sports because, we're right there on the edge. Football's got a couple more games left. Soccer's going into the tournament, and, cross country has the Hart Championships next weekend. Otherwise, we're fully into what we're going to talk about now with... now we're in basketball season. It's October. It's basketball season in October. Okay, sure, why not? I can't wrap my mind around it, but that's what we're doing.
We're underway, Wade.
Schedule creeps up.
Here we go.
All right, before we talk about the women, I guess I'll do it chronologically here. Men's basketball coming off with a huge victory over Presentation last Sunday, 140-53. And this is not like, all right, 140 points. You played against some, Bible school that's nobody, against School of the Blind, whatever. No, we took it to an NAI D2 school that won their conference title last year, regular season title. Yes, they had a transition with a coach in the off season. Maybe had some big attrition. I don't know how many seniors they lost, all that. But third largest margin of victory in school history. Just kind of laid the wood to them. Everybody played well, and just a tremendous way to start out the year. Kamari Newman, 20 points. Dexter Hood with 18. On and on and on we go. DJ Bond, Josh Watkins, also new guys, 15 points each. Q Cager leading the returners with 13. We shot almost 70%. I think kept them under 30%. I don't have it in front of me right here. But everybody did what they needed to do, and I know Coach Henry was very pleased with what he saw.
Obviously, it's one of those situations where, yes, it is a D2, but D2s aren't obviously D1s,
Slightly
even
different,
in the NAIA, same with NCAA and all that, and it's one where you go, does this mean we're just that great? Does this mean they're that bad? Is it a mixed bag? I don't know, but this team certainly came out and played hard the entire game, and despite a huge lead, they kept going, they got everyone in, everyone contributed, everybody I think scored at least a couple points.
Yeah, everybody scored,
something in the stat sheet. And so that really is a great sign, especially for some of the newer guys to the program. They can come in, know their role, know the system, and put up points. Great shooting, some great passing, a few terrific dunks that were thrown down. It was fun to watch for us, and it's certainly something you go, this is a great start to the season. Now let's see where it goes in the next couple of games. If they keep putting up numbers like this, we can't expect 140 points a night. This isn't an NBA caliber team for sure.
Yeah,
but
it's not the Houston Rockets, right?
No, but if they keep putting up solid results like that, the scoreline decidedly in their favor, then all of a sudden that high ranking that they got seems really justified. So great start to the season for them.
Yeah, no, definitely. They said everybody getting the work done and figuring it out. We just sprinted out to a 19-0 lead right away, and it was 71-26 by halftime, and just like, what is this? And it never
going on?
Never slowed down. So similar, obviously nowhere close to the amount of points, but similar show there by the women's basketball team, taking on number 18 in NAI D2 again, Tabor, on Tuesday. Team Penn coming in 25th in NAI D1 and dominated the first quarter, 21-6 lead. Continued to play well in the second quarter, extended that out to 38-13 by intermission. And the second half, obviously not as clean. Played pretty even with the Blue Jays, but still came away with a 69-45 victory. Excuse me. And again, one of these situations that Tabor had 28 wins last year. They were a really, really good program. Got knocked out in the first round, just the same as we did. So both teams wanting to go deeper last year and lost some great talent. But we did everything really, really well defensively early on. Offensively, trying to figure out some things. But Katie Latello, freshman Bailey Reardon both get 14 points. Nye Christmas Polk and Brenda Pennington get 11. Team shoots just shy of 50%. We keep them under 30%. Great free throw presence at 12 for 13.
I know that every game.
Exactly. I know Coach Williamson always wants better. He wants them to screen better or just know how to be in their position better. At times we could have rebounded on the defensive end better. They came up with a lot of offensive rebounds in the second half especially. But a great outing, great to start out the year 1-0, and now you can worry about, all right, well, we won, but we still got some things to worry about, and that's great, but we won.
Yeah.
So we know we can play bad, but still come away with a big victory like that. Got to feel good about the situation.
Great start for both basketballs, and the women, as you said, played great defense. It was really strong on their switches. They were communicating well, and you could tell that they were very organized, knew what they were going to take away. As the second half went on, they gave up a few points, but it's basketball. You can't really pitch a shutout in basketball.
Right.
I don't know if that's ever happened.
Yeah,
I mean,
so.
probably
Junior high, I guess.
Yeah,
maybe 20 to
who
0
knows,
or something.
but whatever. So great defensive effort. Offensively, some good performances. As you said, Kate was stroking the threes. It seemed like every time she got it, she was open, she was making it, and some other players stepped up. Brenda Pennington made some good passes. Reardon made some good moves down low.
Yeah.
I think they're still trying to figure out the system, though. There was a few times where they tried to run a play. It didn't really seem to click, per se.
Mm-hmm.
I know women's basketball is different, but a lot of times they're still trying to get through their whole set, and the shot clock, not play clock, same difference, but whatever, was running down to 5, 4, 3, and the coaches are yelling that out. So there's still some improvement to go for this team. A great first outing, great performances, and we'll see how practices develop in these next couple of games, how they can make that offense flow a bit better.
Yeah.
And then they, again, are playing with a little bit of that chip, knowing that they were ranked a little lower than perhaps they should be. And if they can figure those things out offensively, then they'll be good there, strong defensively, should be a good season.
Definitely. Yeah, we're excited for both teams. Again, you can't tell everything. We don't have a crystal ball. You don't know what that one game really means, but you get the win, and against pretty good competition.
Wins in the bank,
especially
and
on
that's
the
all that matters.
That's all that matters, so we'll go forward. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk to head men's basketball coach John Henry, as well as junior men's basketball player Eddie Daley. You are inside the playbook. Welcome back, Statesmen Nation. We are joined now by head men's basketball coach John Henry, as well as junior men's basketball player Eddie Daley out of DeWitt, Michigan. Guys, thanks for coming in for a few minutes. Coach, before we get into the full thing about the season and how everybody is working together and all that, let's recap the presentation. You guys got a huge win last Sunday.
Yeah, it was a good time. Played very well. Obviously, presentation is struggling a little bit. Had a change in coach. Didn't even get him hired until September, so it's been kind of a tough go for them. But we did play very, very well. Honestly, we might have beaten just about anybody. Sunday, we were clicking, and it's very early in the year to be playing that well as we did, and was a lot of fun.
Is that scary to say that we're playing? You almost made it sound like it was a bad thing playing that
well.
I mean, and I understand that you don't want to peak in October.
Yeah, I don't mean it as a bad thing. It's just it is a little scary in that you don't expect everybody to be on the same page that early. But I'll take it. Now, we don't want any drop-offs or let-ups, but it is a work in progress. But it was nice to see the ball go in so frequently.
Oh, definitely. I think they shot, look at my paper, somewhere in the 70% range. It was like 68 something.
68 from the field and like 58 from three.
Yeah, and they were down to well under 30, I think, or whatever. So, anybody in particular? I mean, honestly, going down the list, I don't think you could say anybody played bad.
We had 8 guys in double figures, plus Ahmad Pinder had 9, and Gabe Larkin had 7. Everybody scored all 13.
Yeah.
So it's the way we like it. Everybody getting a piece of the pie, everybody contributing and scoring a lot of points.
Right. We've been talking as the athletic communication staff. You know, we're so smart, we know everything. No, we're just talking after the game. Like, you know what? What's really exciting about this team is that it seems like there are, and not to say that there won't be, but at this point, after one game, no major superheroes. Nobody that's like, here, this guy you're going to rely on for 25 and 10 every night or anything. You can see almost that any given night, somebody's probably going to be able to step up and have a big game, which means danger for anybody else because you can't key up on anybody.
Right, and that's what we've tried to do for the last 10, 12 years. But this year's group has really taken to it, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah. Let's talk about just with having so many newcomers, working the chemistry of it all. I know there's not as many, you know, the senior guys, you know, those one and dones we've had the last few years, but you know, a lot of new faces and everybody trying to figure out what their role is going to be. How is that, you know, coming along?
It's coming along nicely. You know, we had the first week of practice was fantastic, and then we had kind of a lull where we had, I would say, 2 weeks where it was pretty bad. You know, not going to sugarcoat it. Excuse me. It was bad, and then by the 4th week, it got good again, leading into our 2 scrimmages one against Burlington Southeastern and Indian Hills, and then obviously the presentation game. So I feel like we're in a good place now with practice. The camaraderie, the team is very good. They're very together, have fun. You know, there doesn't seem to be you know, any dislike. You know, like any family, there's a little bickering every now and then. Sure. But you know, as far as like when it comes down to it, though, they got each other's back, and it seems to be a very together group.
Yeah, yeah. Eddie, speak to that a little bit more. You're actually inside of it all, and the coaches see it, what they perceive as, you know, everybody getting along. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, it's very accurate. I'm actually really excited for these next 2 years because of how many juniors we have on the team and how much camaraderie I think we can, you know, establish, and then going into next season, you know, I think it's just going to carry over and really make it a really special team.
Definitely.
I can't, you know, I have to pinch myself sometimes when I think about, like, we have one senior, Dexter Hood,
right,
and then, you know, like, the possibility that everybody could be back is just crazy to me because the last 3 or 4 years we've had 7 or 8 seniors. I don't know what I'm going to do on senior night. Right. I'm just talking about Dexter. I mean,
it'll be done in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, there'll be as many tiers for sure, but it won't be as long, right? Let's go forward here and talk about this weekend. Kind of a fun trip for Eddie individually, and I'll let him talk about that in a second. But you guys are playing a couple of Christian schools in Great Lakes Christian and Grace Christian. Just before we got on camera here, asked Eddie a little bit about the teams. You probably know even more about them, but it sounds like these are pretty solid Christian schools.
They're not
like we're just going in and
they're not your average, what you would say, quote unquote, church schools or Christian schools. These are 2 pretty good teams. Great Lakes' coach, Westerland, is a friend of mine, and we've played him at 2 or 3 different places, stops along his career. We've got a relationship to where they're coming down here in November. We're going up there now. He came here a couple of years ago with 2 different teams, and he does a good job. And Grace has won the national championship for the NCCAA, National Christian College Athletic Association, multiple times. I mean, they might have 4 or 5 championships. Right. And they came here a long time ago. Eddie would have been in diapers. I think it was 2008 or 9, and gave us a go. I mean, we had a good team that year. We won by 6, and so that was scary. But they'll be tough. They'll be, you know, formidable. And anytime you travel 8 hours, 7-8 hours away with a new team, it's the first time you've played a road game. It's the first time you've done hotels, all the things that go with traveling. It can be scary. So We're not going to take anybody lightly at this point in the season, or hopefully at all in the season, but especially right now because, anything can happen at this juncture.
Yeah, well, Eddie mentioned that Grace Christian just coming off a win over Siena Heights, which is a team that we've played in the past, a NAI D2, and they've got, I think, Cornerstone tonight. So you're going to find out a lot about this team pretty early.
The entire trip was set up for Mr. Daley here. I like to try and get my 4-year guys, no matter where they're from. We like to get the 4-year guys a home game. It's not easy to do with transfers, like a junior college transfer or 1-year transfer. With the 4-year guys, we try to get it as close as possible to their home.
Yeah.
Years ago, we went to Spring Arbor for Chris Miller. He was from Michigan too, so that was the last time we've been there, I think.
Yeah.
So dating myself a little bit again, but it'll be fun. He gets to sleep in his own bed, and he's going to drive up tonight after practice. Be very, very careful when he does that and see his folks a little bit before we arrive, and then we'll practice at his high school. And it's basically an Eddie Daley trip, so hopefully he doesn't play like crap.
Right. Eddie talked about this trip a little bit, getting an opportunity to play in front of, assuming that there'll be a ton of Eddie Daley fans in the stands, a lot of Eddie Daley fatheads and everything. So,
I'm just very excited for this opportunity. I'm very thankful that Coach was able to set this up for me and my family, because I'm expecting about maybe 50 to 60 people there at the game for me and our other teammates, and hopefully Kamari can get some family there since he's from Detroit too. So it'd be great to see, two families just coincide, really supporting their players. I know these are two teams that aren't just going to roll over, so we got to be ready to go no matter what. Especially with Grace Christian and how they're playing lately. It's going to be a really good road trip.
Yeah, definitely. Coach, let's talk about Eddie's position in not just Eddie, but the post position in general. Coming into the season, you guys weren't able to maybe, tackle as many big kids as you would have liked, and we're going to be a little thin in that area. But how are you guys working around that possible obstacle and say, we're not all that big in the post, but we're still going to be successful down there?
I'm actually very comfortable with it. With Nate and Eddie together, Nate Gehring from Waukee, Iowa, a Pepperdine transfer. I'm very comfortable with it. What we've done, Coach Sandquist and I, is really kind of tweaked the system. And then Gabe Larkin is also in the mix as well from Eddyville Blakesburg, a freshman. But it's mainly, at this point of his career, it's mainly Nate and Eddie.
Yeah.
But we've kind of tweaked the system a little bit, and we're running kind of a hybrid type of motion. Over the past couple of years, we've been very blessed with Omar Sherman, Mari Manuel, Torrin Jones, Brady Burford, Stephen Roundtree. Jason Washington. Right? We've had some awesome bigs.
Yeah.
And not to say that Nate and Eddie aren't in that group, but we're using them to their strengths rather than trying to make them what those others were.
Right.
They can both run, they can both shoot, they can do some different things. They're both above the rim type players when it comes to finishing. So we're moving them around, and with that, we're also using the strength of our guards with their abilities with Nate and Eddie. So it's a real hybrid type of thing.
Sure.
It looks different than what people maybe are used to. We don't run the floor and then spin and pin and try to feed the post all the time. It's more of a run the floor for a layup. If we don't have that, then we're coming to set a ball screen, pick and pop sort of thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to give all the tricks out of the bag, but
right.
It is a lot different than what we've accustomed to. And we thought about this during the summer. We had a couple of departures of a couple of kids that were supposed to be back at that position. So when we realized that they weren't going to be back, we had to come up with something.
Yeah.
And that's what we did.
Very cool. Eddie, talk about you're an upperclassman now. How quickly that has happened already.
Yeah.
But especially with having so many newcomers, obviously your role has changed. Talk about that and how you've either fallen in love with it or you're a little you've got a little trepidation to that, knowing that hey, everybody's kind of looking at me to what's the William Penn way. You're in it now 2+ years, so talk about how your role's changed.
It was kind of a surprise, to be honest. I try to step up and do as much as I can as a leader. Sometimes I don't know if I'm doing it right, but I'm just going to keep giving it my all. I mean, I can definitely handle some situations differently than I have. I mean, I've also done some good things I thought too that could really help the team, come together and have me step up as a leader. We're going to have we have Malik Thomas back too with Q. I mean, they've all been here a couple years too, so I mean, they're been behind my back, kind of helping me.
Yeah.
So I'm just really looking forward to really starting to get the season going.
And I think, shirt-tailing off that, Eddie's in a different position than just being a natural junior. Wouldn't you say? I mean, you didn't play a ton of basketball in high school. I mean, you were on the team, but it's a little more difficult for him because he's still finding his way as a major contributor.
Right.
So it's a little different. But I have leaned on him, he's in charge of making sure everybody has the right colored jersey on for practice. And
gotta know your colors, though.
Well, we have a tradition where, whatever our next game is, if it's on the road, we're practicing all week in that color.
Okay.
For at home, we're practicing all week in that color. And he makes sure that little stuff like that, or on the floor, if we call a play and somebody's not in the right position, him and Malik and sometimes Q are in charge of telling them where they need to be, so I don't have to do it all the time. And of course, when that doesn't happen, I get upset and then bark at them because
someone's on me.
Right. So, but no, they're doing a good job, and he's doing a good job. That sort of thing though is going to come a little slower with a guy that is still finding his way.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to believe that you're in your third year already. Time really flies.
Yeah.
But it's good, and still got a couple of years left, and we're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Eddie. I had a question about talking about your history of playing on the perimeter and now going inside, but Coach kind of answered how you're going to be used in a hybrid situation, so we won't have to worry about that. Let's talk about expectations for this year, team-wise. Again, you're on the inside. You guys have really early season high rankings, and everybody's probably like, really? We don't know who this team is, but a lot of pressure on you guys early. How are you guys dealing with that? And are you just soaking it all in, or just totally forgetting about it and saying we gotta worry about us, not worry about what everybody else thinks about us?
I mean, it's pretty early to tell right now. As much as we would like to just kind of take it and just kind of run with it. I mean, I think we're number 4 in the nation, so it's just kind of hard for some people to kind of really get used to that.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great opportunity for us. But like Coach always says, it's because of the name on our chest. I mean, we still have a lot to prove, and this team is very capable of it. I'm just really excited to see where the season goes, but we have to live up to the high expectations that everybody has for us, and it can be stressful at times, but I think everybody's really bought in this year, and I think we're ready to go.
Yeah. Talk about the expectations you guys have set. I mean, you kind of answered that a little bit already, but what you guys have set as a team, without just generically, you could say, yeah, we want to get back to nationals, we want to make a deeper run, all that stuff, but other things you guys have talked about and saying, these are our goals that we are setting as we're going throughout the year.
As a team, I know we really need to step up our defense a little bit too. So I think we're going to really try to jump the passing line up a little bit more, get a few more turnovers, really create our buckets off of that. So I mean, those are the main defensive principles that we want. It's a lot of really fast-paced play.
Yeah.
That'll help us get back to hopefully conference title, conference championship, and make a deep run into the nationals.
Definitely. And then individually for you, every year. Going back to your high school years, every year, progressing, getting better. What have you set for yourself as goals?
For right now, it's basically rebound, play defense.
Okay.
I've accepted the fact that I'm never going to be the main scoring guy, and I'm okay with that. As long as I can, come off the bench, whether it be that or start a game, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to play my best, and really focus on rebound, defense, block shots, stuff like that.
Sure.
I mean, little key thing to help us win the game. Get guys open that really can shoot the ball and stuff like that, and we'll go off of them.
There you go. All right. Okay. I don't have I know them in my head, but there's the Furious Four. You can thank Jared for the name on that. But 4 random questions that I'm going to ask you. So, you ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Favorite or your dream vacation destination?
Oskaloosa, Iowa.
on Halloween morning, where we've got 3 inches of
Snow.
snow out there.
Hey, I love the snow, so.
I was
but,
gonna say you gotta be a big fan of Michigan.
I don't know. For some reason, I've always had Fiji in the back of my head.
Sure.
For some reason, I don't know why. I always thought it would just be a cool island to visit. So.
Yeah, for sure. All right, 2 people that you could have dinner with. Any 2 people, living, dead, famous, could be a family member you never got to meet, or anything. Two people you want to have dinner with.
Michael Jordan.
Okay.
And Gardner Minshew.
Wow.
Well, he's got the jersey. Jared wore it a couple days ago for the women's game. So, all right. What is the greatest thing about the men's basketball program here at William Penn?
I think it's a high-level talent, and being able to bring multiple people from high-level talents in and being able to, put them together, kind of mesh, and, everybody, like Coach says, get a piece of the pie. And it's a really cool thing to see, because some of those guys come here thinking, I'm the man, and stuff like that, and it can be good and it can be bad. We've lost players from it. We've gained players that really actually bought into the system, and I think it's going to be great this year.
All right. And then last but not least, 2-part question. One thing that absolutely terrifies you, one activity that absolutely terrifies you, and how much money would it take to actually do it?
Wow.
You're trying to think of this like,
How much money? The packed turf.
Yeah, the pack turf's pretty awful.
It's like snakes or anything.
I don't mind snakes. I really.
skydiving.
No, I like heights. I like doing all that stuff.
I don't know then, because those are the things that terrify me. Like you said, if there were snakes on a plane, I'm done.
I don't know. I guess we can just stick with the turf. I hate the workouts there.
Okay, there you go.
I know.
I was trying to figure out where you going with the turf thing. So
It
work
wouldn't
out.
take that
on
much
the-
money to us to not run them.
No.
I'm willing to be
You
bribed.
do it for free. So.
I'm willing to be bribed out of that.
Okay, so you would have to pay to get out of it. All right, I
Yeah.
gotcha. Okay. All right, Eddie, you're going to see your family real soon, so you don't get to do any shout-outs. You get to see them within a few hours.
Yeah.
So best of luck this weekend.
Thank
Have
you.
fun playing in front of the home crowd and everything. Coach, best of luck the rest of the year. Once again, John Henry, Ben's basketball coach, as well as Eddie Daley, junior basketball player out of DeWitt, Michigan. He's going to be playing in front of his home crowd, so best of luck to you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks. Welcome back, Statesman Nation. We're about to preview some big games coming down the pipe here for the Statesmen, beginning with Senior Day for football. Still a few more games left, Justin. As you
3
mentioned.
games, yeah.
Yeah, there's still a lot to play for. Still a lot of fun to be had on the gridiron, even if you're not playing for a conference title. And I guess I shouldn't say that. It could still happen. But
who knows what Grandview has a clunker all of a
Yeah,
sudden.
you never know. They'd have to lay some big old eggs out there. But it could happen. But this Saturday, 21 individuals are going to be recognized for Senior Day against Peru State. It's going to be the battle of the option offenses, the only 2 schools in the conference that do the triple option, multiple option, whatever you want to call it. And we run it better. Not saying that biased. I'm literally looking at the stats. We definitely run the ball considerably better. They're 0-8. They are what they are.
We're playing Peru State, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. They're 0-8. Have we burn the world down? No, but we have had a lot more success this year, and we just need to play our game and take care of business and come away with a big win and send these seniors out right, because the last 2 games are on the road, so this is their last time to play at Statesman Community Stadium, and let's give them a big win and hopefully a big crowd that can cheer them on.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a fun one, just because it'll be a fast one too, because both teams are going to run and run and run. They pass a few more times than we do. Historically, but yeah, it'll be a game that's going to be pretty quick, because it's just going to run it down your throat.
Running clock.
Yeah,
Bet
pretty
you
much,
running,
right? Yeah, exactly.
Found it out. But
Yeah.
the Statesman team certainly took a bit of a lick there up in the state capital, but they've been playing well overall. And, all right, so you lose to the number 4 team in the nation. It is what it is, and now it's time to reassert yourself. Their second place is still very attainable, because the other 3 schools have not the greatest record. So
yeah, I mean, Culver Stockton's going to be a good battle, but these next 2 weeks, you're going to have some you're going to be a high favorite.
Yeah.
Big favorite.
So you ground out those wins. You have a winning record. It's not super successful, but it will be a successful season. Yeah, it would probably look better if that Central Methodist game in the win column and
Correct. Yeah.
maybe one of the other ones, but still a really good season. You got to get those seniors a win since this is the last home game, and it should be a fun one for them. And hopefully a lot of people come out because again, it should be a fun, exciting match, and hopefully a lot of Statesmen points up on the board.
Yeah, it'll be true late. I guess it'll be November. It'll be November football in Iowa. It won't be snowing. We're not going to get snow like we just had the last 24 hours. I promise you that, unless something changed in the forecast. But it's going to be nice and chilly, and it's just going to feel like collegiate football as it should. So
at its best.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. All right, men's soccer is off. We will find out who their quarterfinal Hart tournament quarterfinal foe will be. We'll find that out today. They'll play next Friday at Dross Field. Cross country also off. They are going to be at the Hart Championships next Saturday down in Missouri. We are already done with golf. Women's soccer just finished up their year. Women's volleyball just finished up their year. So we are literally at the end of the fall.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about a sport that kind of does a little bit of crossover throughout the whole year. To be honest,
they're more all the time.
They're everything. I call them a winter sport, but they literally go from October all the way until
to the
April.
end of the year.
Yes,
so the bowling team is in action this week. It will be not a home event, but a home state event as they're going up to Cedar Rapids, Mount Mercy, hosting the Five Seasons Classic up there, and both teams will be going. Of course, they go together just to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to find out what schools are going. Bowling's kind of hard, and not a lot of information at times is out there. But should be another chance for the Statesman team to prove that their rankings are justified. I'm sure Grandview and a couple of other Hart schools, with it being so close, will be there, which will be a great indication of, is this team up to snuff? Can they again compete for regular season titles, bowling, Hart conference titles, and again another test to improve as they look to be even better going towards the end of the season and the big tournaments there. So expecting good things. We've talked about all season how especially the women's side has high expectations. I think the men take a step up this weekend. Not that I have any great knowledge in this whatsoever. I'm a subpar bowler myself, but I think that after a couple tournaments, especially with the likes of the Caustics and things like that, with a couple of good high games last event, that now it's time they start getting into a better groove, and I think you see them finish a little higher, and I think the women will still put up a great result as well. So if you're in the area, please go up to Cedar Rapids and watch them up there. I'm sure they would like to have the home supporting of any sort, because otherwise they are far and abroad and don't get a lot of ways to get home people up there. Yeah,
we do have several individuals that have bowled in or grew up in the Cedar Rapids area, so I expect there to be a good contingency of Statesman Nation up there. I think on the women's side, it's going to be a big test, even though it's not a tier 1 or anything like that. It'll be a really good test, again, how they match up to those hard schools, especially Mount Mercy, a really, really strong women's program, and it's going to be their home meet. So, man, what a great way to show who you are, beating that team, I would assume, on their home lanes.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how the women and the men show up this weekend. So then we also need to obviously talk about women's basketball, men's basketball. They are officially in the season now. Here we go. Missouri Baptist, kind of a different situation. Won't go into all of it, but ends up being another neutral site game against Missouri Baptist, as they had last year playing in the Grandview tournament. Grandview tournament dissolved. We're just going to still play Missouri Baptist up there on Friday. Rolled the I just lost what they're called. I want to say the Warriors. Doesn't matter. Missouri Baptist. We crushed them by 51 last year. Hopefully take care of Spartans, I believe so they are. Take care of them hopefully this year again. Preparing for a really mega top 25 battle next Wednesday. Number 9 Columbia coming into town. Both sides were upset in their first round of nationals last year, and Columbia losing to a fellow Hart school in Clark in their first round last year. So they might want to be getting a little revenge on the Heart of America Athletic Conference. Teams haven't played in forever, 15 years, so there's no rivalry or anything there. Just it'll be a really good non-conference battle. And Coach Williamson knows that he's figured out the last couple years we can be ranked high, but we can be ranked even higher if we play a tough non-conference schedule and prove that, yeah, we can beat the hard schools, but look, we can beat other teams too. And Columbia, being one of the best in the nation, they're going to be a really tough battle. And I'm excited to see. We saw what we were against Tabor. Thought Tabor was a good team. Now, what can we do against the Cougars out of Columbia? So that'll be a good one here next Wednesday.
Yeah, and I think the Missouri Baptist one, chance to again see the depth players who can come in and contribute like that. But Columbia, one of the more traditional powerhouses, if you will, always
Definitely.
seems to be ranked top 25 preseason on.
Yeah.
Vanguard, when I was there last year, they went and played them early in the season and had a good matchup with them. So as you said, a great chance to see how well this team has transitioned away from the heroes of last year to this year's squad, and how they stack up. And if they get a huge win, that would be absolutely a huge momentum boost going ever faster towards conference play, because you
conference
play
is just right around the weekend,
everyone
so.
twice. It starts like that. So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so we'll see a lot more, find out a lot more about the team this coming week. On the men's side, we surprisingly, even though we're playing a couple of Christian schools up in Michigan, as Coach Henry and Eddie had talked about earlier, these are going to be tough Christian schools. Great Lakes Christian, not a bad team. They've kind of, Eddie had told me earlier, he said they're kind of maybe somewhere between like a Southeastern Community College and Presentation. So, a team that could give us a little bit of a fit, but we should handle. That school's only 10 minutes away from where Eddie grew up, so expect a lot of the Daley family and Daley friends there. And then the next night, that's on Saturday, and then on Sunday, Grace Christian, and that's that perennial power on NCCAA.
lots of
Yeah,
symbols
lot of It's not the big blue dot, but add another C in there.
and a few stars.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So a really strong Christian school there. Expect that to be a heck of a battle. It's going to be fun to see how we finally get a test, and not to say we didn't get a test in the preseason in scrimmages, but those are different. This game actually matters. They just came off a win against Siena Heights, and they'll know by Sunday, how they did against Cornerstone, a really, really strong NAIA D2. So a couple really good tests going up to Michigan, getting outside of the state and seeing a little bit more of what we're made of. So
Yeah, and plus you're on the road, and that always changes things, because you're sleeping in a hotel, and traveling doesn't normally take a toll on you because you're sitting on a bus, but still it's a long way. Your mind's kind of wandering because you're just looking out the window and all this and that, instead of sitting at home, getting up, getting ready to get pumped for the game and whatnot. But it should be a good experience again for these guys, get their feet more comfortable in the system, see who's doing what, and if they get a couple wins out of that, that should set them up very nicely to start the conference schedule and their couple other home games when they come back.
Definitely. All right, and then finally, as far as winter sports go, wrestling will be starting next Thursday, so we're talking about them just a smidge early, but they will open up with a duel against Central next Thursday, so we'll have a lot more going on, talking with Coach Scott in the upcoming days, and have some videos out about that team, but it'll be fun to talk about them as well. So they're full into crossover season. Always a lot of fun, and always a lot of very hectic here in this office. So
That's for sure.
all right, did I miss anything? You usually keep me on track
I think
here.
I was looking at our little who does what, and I
Yeah.
think that's
We covered it.
everyone.
All right, definitely great. Okay, Statesman Nation, thanks for joining us once again on Inside the Playbook for Justin Burtis, for a very sick Jared Goodman that you probably heard coughing in the background. I'm Wade Steinloggy. Until next time, go Statesman.